So I'm back in the UK's cheapest electric van, my 2013 Renault Kangoo. I've been a bit light on content with this one recently, and that's probably just because I've just been using it. I've done a good few hundred miles in it, just moving stuff around and doing sort of general van duties. I haven't even got round to removing the sign writing yet, and I promise when I do, you'll be the first to know, because I know you all can't wait for that one. But today, I've got a little bit of an impromptu range test for you. So, we're fully charged this morning. I've got 50 miles showing on the guessometer, and I'll show you that. And I need to go and pick something up that's 28 miles away. And that means a 56 mile round trip. Now, that could be a problem. I'm fairly hopeful that it'll do it, especially given that when it was new it would have had a range of sort of 80-90 miles in the summer. It's a nice day, fairly warm, fairly sunny, hopefully good conditions. I've decided to opt for the sort of cross-country A roads rather than the motorway. I could go on the motorway, it would take a little bit less time, it would be like 2 miles more. But obviously driving at higher speeds definitely not going to be good for range, so we're going to take the A roads and we'll see how we get on. I've got some charging options where I'm picking the thing up if it's looking a bit dicey by the time I get there, but I'd rather not use them because obviously with a 3.6 kilowatt onboard charger, yeah, it's going to be a long wait. There's certainly no sign of anything that you could call rapid charging in this van. And I've already got a coffee, so I don't need to stop for another one. But we'll get underway, shall we? See how it does. I don't know what to make of it. I've only really been running around locally and sort of within its range. I've never had to push it. So we'll see how we get on, shall we? First thing I noticed, I put a cup in the cup holder for the first time, and the stupid big handbrake, which I think is straight out of stuff like the Megane 2, overly large, just gets in the way. It's just not very practical, and you'd think that drink storage is really important to commercial vehicles. The backbone of Britain, right? Guys in vans, they need coffee. Sort it out, Renault. I don't know if the newer Kangoo's a bit better. I imagine they've done away with this big stupid handbrake lever in the newer ones. Maybe not, but I'd kind of hope so. Had a bit of an interesting one with this. Went to change the wiper blades because they were completely shot. As I said in the previous video, you know, I think the lack of an MOT leads to things like that maybe being a bit forgotten about. Went to change the wipers, and as you do, you know, lifted the arms up from the screen. Passenger side one, no problem, changed it over. Driver side one, oh, that's a bit stiff. And I went to pull the arm up, it's a bit stiff. And it just completely sheared off. It sheared off where it attaches to the, where the wiper arm attaches to the spindle. The metal just completely sheared off. I've never known that to happen. I've never known wiper arms to be that weak. I don't know what the score is. I don't know if it's not been touched for so long and the mechanism was that seized and you put a lot of strain on the thinner bit where it mounts to the spindle, but absolutely bizarre. So I'm rocking one wiper at the moment, I'm ashamed to say. I've actually put the passenger side arm onto the driver side so that, you know, if it does rain I can actually see where I'm going, and I'm just trying not to really use it in wet weather very much. I don't think a policeman would be particularly enthralled by it. I'm definitely going to do my best to sort it out as soon as I can. But I had a look on eBay, and driver side wiper arms for this model of Kangoo seem to go between completely unobtainable to an absolute fortune. I think 153 quid I saw someone selling a new one, but they were in Spain, and so it'll be potentially be different because for a left-hand drive vehicle. It might not be different. Obviously French manufacturers are quite good at not actually adapting very much, and you get a right-hand drive car that's actually got a lot of the left-hand drive features on it, but I don't know. So I'm on the lookout for a driver's side wiper arm. I was thinking about, I can actually, believe it or not, find a passenger side one for like 20 quid, like really cheap, really easy. I was thinking about just buying one of those and grafting it on for now, because I know that I've got the current passenger side one on the driver's side and it works. It's just it leaves a little bit at the bottom where it doesn't wipe, but certainly you can see enough. So I might just get another passenger side one, and it'll at least have a full set of wipers for a bit, and it's certainly better than nothing. But yeah, absolutely bizarre. I've never known a wiper arm to break, especially, I mean, it's like 8 years old, this, right? It's not it's not 20, 30, 40 years old. So for things like that to be broken, I don't know. Good old French quality for you, I suppose. But did this sort this out as well? I don't know if you can hear squeaking from the brake pedal. I guess it just needs a bit of grease on the linkage, but it's really annoying. So, trying to drive fairly gently today. No heroics. Obviously, we're a little bit short on range as it is, so I don't want to use loads and loads of power. But fortunately, this is not really a vehicle built for speed anyway, so it's actually quite good just to take it easy. Well, I made it. 28 miles down. We've got 31 miles showing on the gasometer, so I think we'll make it. The comedy battery charge gauge is showing just over 50%, or a half as it's marked on the thing, so I think we might be doing quite well here. So I'm going to collect my cargo, get loaded up, and then hopefully it'll just be a straight run back home. Fingers crossed. All loaded up, ready to go. What I've bought is actually a hydraulic spring compressor for changing coil springs. No more death sticks. If you've ever tried to DIY a spring change, you know, you get these crappy little things that you put on the springs and you wind up by hand, and I've done it a few times now and it just scares the life out of me every time. So a chap I know was selling a hydraulic one, a floor mounted hydraulic one, which makes the job just so much safer, so much easier, and it was at a price I couldn't say no to, so here we are. That's in the back, ready to go. Got 31 miles on the gasometer. So it's time to go. We've got 28 miles home again. Hopefully we'll make it. Not leaving much room for error here, but let's go, shall we? It's been a fairly good journey. I wasn't driving particularly slowly, just taking it quite easy when it comes to acceleration and stuff, but sticking to speed limits, 50, 60 mile an hour where appropriate, not crawling along. So we don't have any heater or air conditioning to worry about in this vehicle because the heater doesn't work and it doesn't have aircon. But the fan is running just to get a bit of airflow in here, and I had the window open earlier when I wasn't filming, but you know, we're not exactly hypermiling or driving about with no ancillaries or anything like that, and it seems to be performing okay. Hopefully we'll make it home. I've got a charging stop lined up, so I'm in Worcester at the moment. I've got a charging stop in Tewkesbury, which I think there's one BP pulse point in Tewkesbury that I can use if I need to, so hopefully we won't need to, but we'll see. Just stopped at Tesco to grab a loaf of bread. I'm only 2 miles away from my destination. Got 11 miles showing on the gasometer, so I managed to resist the urge to plug in and charge. There's 4 pod point 7 kilowatt chargers in this car park. But quite nice to see that most of them are in use. There's 3 EVs parked in the 4 bays. We've got an Amazon e-Sprinter charging, we've got a Tesla Model 3 charging, and we've got someone with a Peugeot E208 that seems to think it's for EV parking rather than charging, which is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, good to see they're actually in use mostly. And the one remaining bay is free. I could have plugged in if I wanted to, but I thought given it looks like I'm going to get home pretty comfortably, I didn't want to ruin the challenge by plugging in. But there we go. So I just made it home. We've got 9 miles showing on the gasometer now, so that's a 56 mile journey completed with no drama whatsoever. I don't even have the low battery warning light on yet. I think that comes on imminently. I think it's 7 or 8 miles left. That'll come on, showing that, you know, the battery level's low and you need to plug in, but the low fuel warning light in a petrol or diesel car. I mean, if we look at the gauge, we are going into the red. We're not far away. But I mean, I think if that gives us a theoretical maximum range of say 65 miles, and maybe a tiny bit more, maybe you could squeeze out a little bit more when it gets to 0, depending on how brave you're feeling. I think that's pretty good going, really. Now, interestingly, we're showing a average consumption of 4.31 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, for a van,
I would say that's pretty good. And obviously been driving pretty gently, not particularly slowly, even managed to overtake a slower car on an A road, which, I mean, given this is not a performance vehicle anyway, that's no mean feat, but certainly not the most economy-minded thing to do. But you have 4.31 miles per kilowatt hour is really quite impressive. Certainly I really struggle to get figures like that out of my ZS EV. I know some people will say that they every time they drive it, that's the kind of economy they're getting. I definitely struggle with that. High threes in the summer, but certainly not much more than that. Not at sort of A road speeds anyway. So pretty good for a van, but it does make me worry a little bit about the battery, because if we're doing 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour and we're getting a sort of 60-ish mile range out of it, that means the battery is a little bit more degraded than I would like. So it might be worth, I'm going to see if, I know that for the Renault Zoe there are tools like Kangoo that can give you a readout of the state of health. I don't know if they work with a Kangoo, but I'd be interested to know what that figure is. And worst comes to the worst, I can take it to Renault for a battery health check anyway, with it being under the lease scheme. They can inspect it and see what it is. And I mean, they only actually warrant the Kangoo ZE for 60% of its original state of health anyway, so we're probably not below that. I think we're performing pretty well, but it'd be interesting to know where we're at. All in all, really quite impressed. I know, okay, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, wow, you managed to do a 56-mile journey in your electric van. I mean, you could do that in a diesel one, on a thimble full of diesel, without even trying, but I think you missed the point a little bit. You know, this is the cheapest electric van on the market. It's, you know, it's getting on a little bit. It's got nearly 40,000 miles on the clock, and for it to still be able to do that amount of its sort of original range, I think is pretty good, and actually makes it pretty useful. So it's not every day I need to go sort of 30 miles up the road to pick something up. Actually, that would form a very small part of the usage this van gets. There's a lot of local running around, which is well within its range. But being able to know that I can do that occasional journey without having to mess around stopping and charging, so given how slow the charge rate is, you know, you're going to be waiting an hour plus for a meaningful amount of range to be restored if you stop and charge. So it's good to know I can do it without charging. But I'm definitely going to plug it in now and top it up a little bit. I don't really want to leave it parked up with a really low state of charge. I don't think that's the best idea. So we'll get it plugged in, get a little bit of charge into it. But all in all, very happy. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments, whether you good or bad. You know, has that made you think, well, actually, an older Kangoo ZE might be a good idea, or might be a terrible idea, just as bad an idea as I always thought it was? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.